All right, everybody. So we're about to conduct some PC surgery.
Now, what I mean by PC surgery is when I get so down into my PC that I'm actually removing the CPU. And all we're going to be doing is taking out the CPU and putting it right back in, turning it on, and seeing what's happened. So for those of you wondering what's happening to my PC and don't want to go watch my other videos, long story short, my PC stopped working out of nowhere to where it won't boot and it won't even show a display, right? So I can't even go into BIOS, anything like that. And what's happening is I'll have a red light on for my RAM on the motherboard, and it'll run through about a dozen different codes. It'll just keep flipping through codes. Like just flip. It won't stick on one code. It'll just go through a bunch of codes. All the LEDs on my motherboard and my RAM, after about 10 seconds, will blink off for about half a second and then blink back on. It's just a repetitive cycle. Now, this is what I found out. When I have both of my RAM sticks in slot A2 and B2, it'll do this. It'll just go through all those cycles and it won't work. But sometimes, only sometimes, not all the time, when I have one RAM stick in slot A2, it'll actually work, right? It'll boot, it'll go into Windows. And so this is what I've done when it's temporarily worked. First thing I did was I factory reset the PC, and I didn't keep any personal files, nothing. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I have a corrupted file somewhere. I'm just going to factory reset this thing, just hopefully clear it out. That didn't work. Okay, cool. So I cleared my CMOS, completely wiped BIOS to default settings, updated BIOS to the newest version. That didn't fix it, right? So then I updated all the drivers, I updated Windows. That didn't fix it either. I'm like, okay, well, shit. So then I go to my local Best Buy, I buy a brand new set of RAM, right? And I plug both of them in. Same issues happening. All right, I'm swapping them around in slots. Same things happening. Red RAM light on my motherboard. It's cycling through a ton, like a dozen different codes. And okay, so I go, okay. So then I take one of that new RAM stick out of B2, and I just put one in A2, and it temporarily works again after a few tries. I'm like, okay, cool. So what this is telling me is it's not some corrupted file I had on the PC, right? It's not the BIOS, because BIOS is with the brand new update, the newest version of BIOS. All the drivers are updated, Windows updated, tried out new RAM. It's not the new RAM. So this is telling me, okay, cool. My RAM is not the issue. So I went ahead and returned that RAM I bought from Best Buy. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm just going to be taking out my CPU. I'm going to be putting it back in, because right now I am 100% convinced it's my motherboard. But the one thing I haven't done from everyone's suggestions, everyone's comments, everything I've looked up online, is reseating my CPU. Because again, why would it be the CPU's fault that when I have two RAM sticks in, it doesn't want to work, but if I have one in, it might work? Everything's telling me it's motherboard, but since I'm at a dead end and I'm waiting for a warranty, like an email back from Gigabyte to warranty my motherboard, we're just gonna try it. So let's get it done.
All right, we got all those unscrewed. And we just got to take off that plate, take out the CPU, reseat it, and go from there. And I'm not going to be reapplying thermal paste. I'm going to try my best to not touch it at all, because again, I'm 98% sure at this point I'm going to end up warranting this motherboard, so everything's going to be coming out of it anyways. So really, no point in reapplying brand new thermal paste when I'm probably going to be taking it all out within the next 2 to 3 days.
Oh, I forgot. I have to unscrew the plate. Alright, so we got the plate all unscrewed. Go ahead, carefully, very carefully. Come on, fat fingers. You got this. Take out the CPU. And while we have the CPU out, we're going to check for any bent pins. Again, I've done this a million times before ever even seating my CPU, so I know nothing's bent. But we're just going to check it out just in case. So,
Right, this thermal paste was able to not touch any of it. I know it needs another cleaning and probably a better one. Right, Everything's all good on the pins, nothing on the pins. Right, and this is why we keep stuff. All right, now we have it sitting nice and safe in its factory box. I always like to keep stuff for situations like this. All right, now let's see if we can't get a little zoom in here. Looking for any bent pins. As you can see, there is none. All the pins are looking perfect. All right, now that we got the fact of checking the bottom of the CPU, make sure it's all nice and clean, and the fact that we have no bent pins, we're going to go ahead, put the CPU back in, and yeah, reattach the plate, reattach the liquid cooler, power it on. I already know what's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. But then when it fails, we're going to power it on with only one RAM stick and see if it works. All right, let's click this RAM in. Get this thing plugged in, powered on, and let's see if anything changes. All right, here we go. Power flowing. Whoa. What the? Oh, there it is. I had cables touching that blade. Oopsie. Give me a heart attack, but there we go. It's going to be going through memory training, so I'm going to go ahead, pause the video, and play it when we all know what's going to happen. The code's going through. All right, everyone, here it is. The PC just going through a bunch of different codes, a dozen different codes. There we go. See the RAM flashing off, flashing back on. It'll just keep doing this and doing this and doing this. Let's see if it'll just stick to 15 for a few more minutes or just keep skipping through codes. What normally it'll do is it'll stick on 15, and then after, I don't know, sometimes it's seconds, sometimes it's a few minutes, it'll run through all those codes, and then it'll go back to 15. And some of you may be saying, well, it's memory training, it's memory training. I've done this before where I left this PC on for 6 hours. Literally 6 hours. Came back and it was still doing this. It'd stop on 15, few seconds to a few minutes, and it'd skip through all those codes again, just like this. And there we go. Back to 15. And the cycle repeats itself. So, I'm going to go ahead and cut a bunch of waiting time out because I know it's not going to work. Turn that off. Flip off the power. Unplug the cable if it'll come out. There we go. Don't fall. I said don't fall. Don't fall, you. Hold on. All right. Let's go ahead and pop this out. It's probably gonna. Cool. Set that down. Plug this back in, nice and tight. Flip the power back on. And 3, 2, 1. Now we're going to sit here, let it go through its whole process, and see if it will actually boot for me. There we go. This is about the third time the screen's popped up. Let's see if it'll actually boot for me. Considering the light went off, I think we're good now. But as you can see, even after reseating the CPU, the computer does. There we go. Cool. Well, at least I can get it to work with only one RAM stick. Oh, I got to plug in the keyboard. But anyways, as you can see, it will finally work if I only have one RAM stick in, but won't work if I have 2 RAM sticks in. And again, this is after going and getting a brand new set of RAM sticks, it doing the same exact thing, me reseating the CPU, factory resetting the PC, reinstalling the newest BIOS, or resetting CMOS, putting BIOS back to default settings, reinstalling the latest version of BIOS, reinstalling all of the updates to the drivers, Windows, etc. And it's just, you know, one RAM stick, it'll work, two, no go. So, unfortunately to me, this is a big motherboard issue, and this motherboard needs to be warrantied. Let me know what you guys think down below.